It was just another day. On June 5th, 2012, professionals across the world were getting ready for work. Some were updating resumes. Others were checking their job applications. LinkedIn was buzzing with activity, just like any other morning. No one knew. Not the executives, not the engineers, not even the users themselves, that somewhere across the world, a cyber criminal had already broken in. His name? Yevgeny Nikulin. A Russian hacker sitting quietly behind a screen, probably in a dark apartment in Moscow or Prague, executing one of the most daring data breaches in the history of the internet. But this isn't just the story of a man. It's the story of millions of identities, quietly stolen without a single shot fired. No alarms went off, no red lights flashed, but trust, pure digital trust, was quietly bleeding out. Nikulin had found a weak point, and LinkedIn, a giant in the professional world, had left the door open. The breach began with a mistake, a simple but costly one. LinkedIn was storing user passwords in a format called SHA-1 hashes, a kind of encryption, but they weren't using a technique called salting, which adds random data to make hashed passwords much harder to crack. To hackers, this was a gift. It meant that once they got their hands on the data, they could use pre-built dictionaries of known password hashes, called rainbow tables, to reverse engineer the passwords, and that's exactly what Nikulin did. He didn't just walk away with a few usernames. He stole nearly 6.5 million hashed passwords in the first wave. Within days, some of those passwords appeared on underground hacking forums. And when security researchers analyzed the hash values, they confirmed the horrifying truth. LinkedIn had been hacked. But what came next was even worse. LinkedIn released a short blog post. They confirmed the breach, apologized, locked down the affected accounts, urged people to change their passwords. The damage seemed containable. But behind the scenes, something bigger was unfolding. 4 years passed. Then, in May 2016, a hacker going by the name Peace resurfaced on the dark web. He claimed to be selling a massive data dump, 117 million LinkedIn email and password combinations. This wasn't a new hack. It was from the same 2012 breach. Turns out, the original breach had been far, far worse than anyone thought. LinkedIn had no idea that for 4 years, 100 million more users were compromised. Their logins, emails, and reused passwords were floating silently in dark marketplaces. And worse, many of those passwords were still active. People had used them for bank logins, email accounts, social media, and even their work credentials. And hackers were already using them for credential stuffing attacks, trying those passwords on other sites to break into more accounts. Suddenly, a simple resume update on LinkedIn had become a weapon to unlock an entire digital identity. And the tech world noticed. Security experts slammed LinkedIn for its outdated encryption practices. Why hadn't they used salting? Why didn't they detect the full scale earlier? Even US Congress got involved. Representatives demanded stronger cybersecurity laws. Senator Patrick Leahy said, "This should give pause to American consumers. We need stronger digital protection, now more than ever." But the story doesn't end there. As experts dug deeper, more red flags appeared. LinkedIn's iOS app was quietly pulling users' personal calendar data, names, emails, even private meeting notes, and sending it to their servers, without obvious user approval. LinkedIn claimed the data was encrypted and user-granted, but after a massive breach, the timing couldn't have been worse. Trust had already been broken. Then came the lawsuits. Katie Spirka, a longtime LinkedIn user from Illinois, filed a $5 million class action lawsuit, claiming that LinkedIn failed to protect user data as it promised. Another premium user from Virginia joined the case, It grew into a class action battle on behalf of all users affected by the breach. LinkedIn's defense: they insisted they followed industry standards at the time, but the industry disagreed. Their failure to salt passwords and their slow response became a textbook example of how not to handle cybersecurity. Behind the scenes, the FBI was on the hunt. In October 2016, Czech police finally arrested Yevgeny Nikulin in Prague, acting on a U.S. Interpol warrant. Investigators said he had hacked not only LinkedIn, but also Dropbox and FormSpring, stealing data from hundreds of millions of users across multiple platforms. Nikulin didn't speak much during his trial, but the evidence was clear. He had stolen credentials by compromising employee accounts at LinkedIn. Once inside, he moved laterally, found databases, and exfiltrated sensitive information, all without raising any alarms. Eventually, in 2020, he was convicted and sentenced to 88 months in U.S. federal prison. But even with Nikulin behind bars, the damage from the breach remained. Millions of emails and passwords were never fully removed from the dark web. The victims, still out there, possibly unaware, using passwords that had long since been exposed. And LinkedIn, they quietly strengthened their security, added salting, enforced resets, and moved on. But the digital world remembered. This breach wasn't just about a website getting hacked. It was about trust, professional trust. The kind of trust you put in a platform that knows your career history, your contacts, and your ambitions. The kind of trust that, once broken, is almost impossible to restore. If you found this story eye-opening, help us spread awareness. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story from the dark side of the internet. This was the LinkedIn breach of 2012, a quiet heist that left a loud message. In the digital world, even giants can bleed.